Let's be honest, folks, nobody wants to be poor. Yet, here's a grim reality. Poverty is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Someone, somewhere, is getting rich off the struggles of those barely making ends meet. We're talking about a system where essential services prey on the vulnerable, trapping them in a cycle of debt and despair. Think payday loan companies charging astronomical interest rates, or the rent-to-own industry peddling overpriced furniture with hidden fees. Over the next few minutes, we're diving deep into this underbelly of exploitation, shining a light on the businesses that thrive on financial hardship. We'll expose the predatory practices, the systemic failures, and the shocking truth about who profits from keeping people poor. Buckle up, because things are about to get infuriatingly enlightening. Let's meet the key players in this deeply unsettling game. First up, we've got our payday lenders, those friendly neighborhood businesses with the flashing neon signs promising cash fast. They offer short-term loans at interest rates that would make a loan shark blush. These loans are designed to trap borrowers in a cycle of debt, forcing them to take out new loans just to cover the exorbitant interest on the old ones. Next, we have the rent-to-own sharks circling those struggling to keep a roof overhead. They offer the allure of owning essential household items through seemingly manageable payments. But those payments are often inflated to an absurd degree, meaning you could end up paying 2 or 3 times the actual value of the item. By the time you've finally paid off that washing machine, it's older than your grandma, and just as likely to flood the basement. And let's not forget about the for-profit colleges, those institutions of higher learning that are far more interested in your tuition checks than your actual education. They lure students in with promises of high-paying jobs and a brighter future, but often leave them saddled with mountains of debt and a degree that's about as useful as a chocolate teapot. It's a system rigged against the poor, and it's time we called it out for what it is: morally bankrupt and utterly unacceptable. Let's talk about payday loans, shall we? Those beacons of hope, strategically placed on street corners in low-income neighborhoods. They promise a quick fix for a financial emergency, but the reality is far more sinister. Imagine this: your car breaks down, your rent is due, and your bank account is emptier than a politician's promise. You're desperate, and suddenly, that flashing neon sign advertising fast cash seems like the answer to your prayers. You walk in, hand over your pay stubs, and walk out with a wad of cash and a sense of temporary relief. But here's where the trap snaps shut. Those seemingly small, short-term loans come with interest rates that would make even the most hardened Wall Street banker wince. We're talking annual percentage rates, APRs, that soar into the triple digits, sometimes reaching as high as 400% or even more. To put that into perspective, if you borrowed $500 at a 400% APR, you could end up paying back well over $2,000. The entire system is designed to keep you trapped in a cycle of debt. The exorbitant interest rates make it nearly impossible to pay back the loan on time, forcing you to take out another loan just to cover the previous one. It's a vicious cycle that can quickly spiral out of control, leaving you drowning in debt and feeling like there's no way out. There are alternatives to payday loans. Credit unions, family loans, even negotiating payment plans with creditors are all better options. Let's talk about the rent-to-own industry, another shining example of how to wring profit from people struggling to make ends meet. It's the furniture equivalent of those buy now, pay later schemes, and it's just as dangerous as it sounds. Imagine this: you've just moved into a new apartment, your bank account is looking a little thin, and you desperately need a bed that's not just a pile of blankets on the floor. You stumble upon a rent-to-own store, its windows filled with shiny new furniture, beckoning you in with promises of easy payments and instant gratification. You pick out a modest sofa and a coffee table, sign a contract that looks like it was written in hieroglyphics, and walk out feeling like you've just conquered adulting. But hold your horses, because here's where the rug gets pulled out from under you. Those easy weekly or monthly payments are anything but. They're often inflated to an absurd degree, loaded with hidden fees and charges that make your head spin. The rent-to-own industry thrives on trapping people in long-term payment plans, turning essential furniture into a luxury few can truly afford. Here's a fun fact that's not fun at all. Being poor is expensive. No, seriously, it's like life decided to play a cruel joke, slapping you with a never-ending series of fees and charges just for having the audacity to not be rolling in dough. Let's start with bank fees, shall we? Overdraft fees, ATM fees, monthly maintenance fees, you name it, banks have a fee for it. And guess who gets hit with these fees the hardest? That's right, folks who are already struggling to make ends meet. It's like being charged a penalty for not having enough money to avoid the penalty. But wait, there's more. Let's not forget about the wonderful world of check cashing services. If you don't have a bank account, you're often forced to rely on these services to cash your paychecks, and of course they take a hefty cut for their services. It's like paying a toll just to access your own money. And then there's the joys of paying bills online. Sure, it's convenient, but that convenience often comes with a price tag, especially if you're paying for essentials like utilities or rent. The system is designed to nickel and dime you into oblivion, extracting every last penny from those who can least afford it. Let's talk about private prisons, shall we? Because nothing says land of the free quite like profiting off putting people behind bars. Here's the gist. Private companies build and operate prisons, contracting with the government to house inmates. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, here's where things get murky. Private prisons are incentivized to keep those beds full because empty beds mean empty pockets for their shareholders. So, how do they ensure a steady stream of customers? Well, lobbying for harsher sentencing laws, for starters. The more people behind bars, the bigger their profits. And let's not forget about the quality of care in these facilities. Remember, private prisons are businesses, and businesses are all about maximizing profits. That means cutting corners wherever possible, often at the expense of basic necessities like healthcare, rehabilitation programs, and even adequate food. The private prison industry is a prime example of how greed can warp even the most fundamental aspects of our society. Let's shine a light on the dark underbelly of the financial world. Fast loans. They sound innocent enough, right? A quick fix for a financial hiccup. But trust me, these loans are about as innocent as a wolf in sheep's clothing, especially when they're aimed at the financially vulnerable. We're talking about those online lenders who promise instant approval and cash in your account quicker than you can say, debt spiral. They prey on desperation, offering a lifeline to those who feel like they have nowhere else to turn. But that lifeline often comes with a catch, and it's usually written in the fine print, the part of the contract most people don't bother reading until it's too late. The lack of transparency in these loan agreements is staggering. Hidden fees, sky-high interest rates that make payday loans look like a bargain. It's all designed to trap borrowers in a cycle of debt they can't escape. And here's the worst part. The lack of regulation in this industry is appalling. It's like the Wild West of lending, with few safeguards in place to protect consumers from predatory practices. Remember, if a loan offer seems too good to be true, it probably is. Look, I get it. We've spent the last few minutes diving deep into the depressing abyss of the poverty industry, and you might be feeling a little hopeless right now. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. There's a way out. A way to break free from the shackles of debt and build a better future. First things first, acknowledge the problem. The poverty industry thrives on silence and shame. The more we talk about it, the more we expose these predatory practices, the less power they have. Knowledge is power. And knowing your rights as a consumer is the first step towards protecting yourself from exploitation. Next up, explore your options. There are resources available to help you navigate financial hardship. Credit counseling agencies can provide guidance on budgeting, debt management, and improving your credit score. Community action agencies offer assistance with housing, food, and other essential needs. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There are people and organizations out there who genuinely want to help you get back on your feet. Advocate for change, contact your elected officials, raise awareness on social media, support organizations fighting for economic justice. So, there you have it, the ugly truth about the poverty industry, laid bare for all to see. We've explored the predatory practices, the systemic failures, and the human cost of a system that profits from keeping people trapped in a cycle of debt and despair. But remember, this isn't just about pointing fingers and shaking our heads in disgust. It's about taking action, about demanding better for ourselves and for future generations. Share this video. Talk to your friends, your family, your neighbors. The more people are aware of this issue, the more pressure we can put on policymakers to enact meaningful change. Let's make it happen.